Hello everyone. Take my glasses off this time. It's Makeda Valletta again. And I'm recording this on my IG Live and I'll repost on my YouTube page, The Renaissance Amazon. So I just want to do a quick video because this is another topic. We're going to do a little sex talk. As a lot of you know that I am a sacred sexual educator. I'm all about the body. I'm all about optimal performance of the body, and sexuality is a part of that, right? Being tuned into your body, knowing what you need. We're all sexual beings, and we all have sexual needs, and without it, it can make us sick and crazy. So sexuality and sexual health is also a part of overall health, mental health, physical health, all of that, spiritual health, the whole fucking gamut, right? And so today I just want to do a little discussion about going down on a woman, eating the sacred flower. Some of you who don't know me may not know I'm a little shy, so I don't talk too crazy. I might think crazy, but I don't talk too crazy. I could be a little nerdy when I'm talking about the body. So I'm not going to give you any demos. Maybe I'll create a class later for that, but I kind of feel like if you tune in enough, you should be able to understand what I'm saying. And for any women who have any opinions or want to add their 2 cents to what I'm saying, if you agree or not agree, please let me know, because I would like to know that, just confirmation I'm not the only one who thinks these things. But in this video, I want to give advice on a few pointers and tips and things about going down on a woman. And I want to say that this is for men, but the stereotype that women know how to please women because they're women is not true. I can tell you that. Firsthand, that's not true. There are a lot of women who are horrible at it, and sometimes I've wondered, do you have a vagina? Do you have a vulva? Don't you have these parts? I've known women who've been super rough, and I've tended to think that those women have some kind of trauma and maybe aren't comfortable with their sexuality, and they get because I've seen that with women who try to act so straight. And then next thing you know, they're attacking me and they're so not straight. And I think that because they were trying to hide that and they're not comfortable with themselves, it comes out on their sexuality where they're over the top and rough. And that's one reason why, one of a few reasons why I'm not attracted to women who are not comfortable with themselves. So I think that's where that could be coming from. But, so, again, any woman who agrees with what I'm saying, please let me know. So the thing about the clit, every woman, you can look up the anatomy of the clitoris because it's not just what people think, where people think it's just what we see, which is the head of the clitoris. That's what we see. That's what most people focus on stimulating. And that's what most people are talking about when they talk about the clitoris. But the clitoris actually is much longer and much larger, and it goes inside the woman. It surrounds the opening of the vaginal canal. And I tend to think that the anatomy of the clitoris is probably not the same in every woman. I don't think it is. I honestly think that's the reason why some women love anal sex so much and they claim that it's so amazing. I'm not one of those people, but I believe the women that say that. And I think that maybe the way their clit flows and is innervated is differently. I know for me, I can grind and hump on something and I'll have an intense orgasm. And when I started to learn more about the anatomy of the clitoris, it made sense because it goes all up inside the woman, right? But when you're talking about the head of the clitoris, right? Now, women have different sizes, different levels of sensitivity. What I tend to do, and I'm not saying I knew everything, because every woman is also different. And that's why I would love the input of women to say, their 2 cents. And we learn through experience. But for me, I know what I like and what I do when I go down on a woman is that I let my consciousness flow through the tip of my tongue. So it's I make the tip of you have to bring your brain and some of your consciousness to the tip of your tongue. And I focus on not just sending energy through that way, but I also use it as a sensor to feel, what this woman's reactions are. You can tell if you pay attention to a woman if she's turned on or not. I can't do that as confidently with men, but with women, yes. I think women's bodies are very expressive. And so then you have to have, you don't want to... let me see, I should have some flowers, but I don't. I just have this plant, right? Not the best example. But the flower, the leaves in this plant are delicate, right? So if I'm doing this, if I'm using my tongue to flick it, or, applying pressure where you can feel the pressure. The pressure is felt, but it's not crushing it. Like I'm not pressing down on it, right? So you don't want to, because that muffles the feeling. So you don't want to like press down on the clit with your tongue, where you're like doing that, because it takes away some of the feeling. Instead, you want to focus on teasing it, bringing it out. Like think of the clitoris has a hood, right? So you want to think about bringing her out slowly. You have to tease her out. You have to convince her to come out. And so the tongue, like using it as having some strength in your tongue. Like you don't want it to be too soft, because if it's too soft, then the woman can't feel it. But you don't want to be too hard and pressed down either. It's a fine balance between being gentle and slow, especially in the beginning. You can speed up later, but in the beginning, you want to approach it slow, gentle and slow, but with a firm tongue, right? A firm tongue that can be felt. But you also have to like let your consciousness go through your tongue, and you have to tune in and pay attention. Some people just go through the motions of what they think they're supposed to be doing. They're not really paying attention to her reactions. Like if you're going down a woman and she's just laying there, she's not moving, she's not making a sound, she's not getting any wetter, you don't feel her twitch, you don't feel her nothing, then what you're doing doesn't feel good. And maybe 5 minutes ago you were doing that same thing and she was moaning and squirming, but now she's not, then you need to change it up. Or maybe she never did that from what you were doing. Maybe you've been doing this for the past 5 minutes and she hasn't moved for 5 minutes, then you need to change it up. To me, as long as her body is not reacting, if at any time her body's just laying there silent, not moving, not expressing anything, then what you're doing she doesn't feel. And you have to track a woman, because what feels good to a woman can change. Her pleasure points can change during the session. You know what I'm saying? First, it might be the upper left corner of the clit. Then it might go somewhere else, So you have to just keep switching. Or the how fast you move your tongue. It's good to switch that up. I also think it's good to use suction. Any woman who has any opinion on that, please let me know, because I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this, because I've had this conversation with other women too. It could be our anatomy, I don't know. But suction, so you're, and not hard suction, we're trying to suck the clit off, and not biting it, because maybe gentle biting, but the clit can be pretty sensitive. So you want to think of a woman's nani. That's why I like nani, because punani means sacred flower. You want to think of it like a gentle flower. You don't want to be too rough, Some women might ask you to be rough, and I would think that would be like after a warm-up period that she would want you to be rough. I could be wrong, but I feel like any woman who just wants roughness out the gate probably has some type of issues, Maybe she got some type of trauma and she's associating pain and abuse with sex. I don't know. So it's a case-by-case basis. Maybe some women want you to just grab their shit and just be rough from the beginning. I don't know. I say that our nanis, our punanis are sacred flowers. You want to approach them like flowers. You want to be gentle. And you want to gently tease it out. You want to think about circles, because feminine energy is cyclic and it spirals. You want to think about your tongue being strong and firm and pointed and stimulating certain spots and letting your energy flow through your tongue while you're also paying attention. When you're using suction with your mouth, and you can suck on her clit so that it's like being sucked into your mouth, and then use your tongue too. You can suction and tongue at the same time. If you're doing gentle light suction, and then you have a clit in your mouth, and you then take your tongue, make it firm, have imagine like a point at the end of it, and lick, and it could be fast or slow on the clit, mixing those things. Because I feel like some men just lick, and they don't understand sucking also feels really good. And the combination of the two feels really good. And you want to go slow, and then you can go faster. I always think that going slow is best at first, because a woman's clit can be so sensitive. You don't want to approach it with too much too soon. You don't want to just too much too soon can make a woman jumpy, and why some women say they don't like it, because it is a highly sensitive area. The most sensitive body part on a man or a woman. The only body parts on a man or a woman that is only there for pleasure, and is the most sensitive, most innervated with nerves. So that tells us a lot. That tells us it's very important that its only purpose is for pleasure. That's it. This is a lot about female sexuality, the female capability of having an orgasm, why women are super powerful. And our sexuality has everything to do with our shamanic ability, our spiritual healing, has everything to do with the goddess. And this is the reason why I speak about the goddess. You will never ever hear me thank God or praise God or none of that, because I know that it is the great goddess that we all come from. We all come from the wombs of our mother. We were all incubated and grown in the wombs of our mother, came out of her vaginal canal if we were born vaginally, which should be, or, C-section, whatever, breastfed by our mothers, you know what I'm saying? And everybody who knows me knows I love my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. I love men. Fathers are important. But the mother, though, you know what I'm saying? The mother, I don't care what anybody says. That shit is just, that's who we come from, who grew us. Like, if a man ejaculates and dies tomorrow, and this woman is pregnant, the baby will still be here. Really. If this man ejaculates and conception occurs and this woman dies tomorrow, the baby will not be here. You know what I'm saying? You go from womb through the vagina, or womb out of the womb, to the heart, to the breast. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get any deeper than that. I don't understand how people just bypass the goddess and talk about God all the time. It's crazy. And there's so much history and documented history about that, because there was a patriarchal shift everywhere. And with that, nobody cares about the clitoris, and sex is supposed to be painful to women, and there's so much information. And it's sad because so many places in the world, female sexuality is so suppressed. Like, I'm so thankful to be a woman in America, because women, and my dad brought this to my attention when I was a little girl, that women in America have more rights and more freedom than we do in a lot of the world. You know what I'm saying? So many parts of the world, you got these chicks, agreeing to being a 15th wife, you know what I'm saying, with some dude that if they got up and did shit, he would flip. Fuck no. If I'm going to be with a dude with 15 wives, trust and believe I will have 20 husbands. Like, there's no way. There's no way, first of all, an attractive woman can get more dudes than a dude can. It's nothing for us, you know what I'm saying? So why would I ever agree to sitting at home suffering, not having my sexual needs met? You got 15 wives and your shit is mediocre. Why would I commit to that? There's so many women do. And I don't respect those women. I don't come from that shit. I don't come from the shit of having sex with men that I don't like. Because I hear a lot of women crack jokes about having sex with men that they can't stand, blah, 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 blah. That shit is so not funny and so not cool. I don't care how big your dick is, how good the sex was. If I don't like you, and I feel like you're an asshole, you're not touching me again. Trust and believe with other people that I can get good sex from. Like, you're not the only one, and I would never do that. Never do it disrespectfully, okay? That's not going to happen. And I would never agree to being in a relationship with a man that has all these wives, and he would flip out if he found out I was doing something. I don't respect the women that do that. Like, why would you give up your power like that? And there's so much of the world where women are doing that shit. Then they're in these dependent situations where they can't survive unless he pays all their bills, which is never good. Because I feel like in those situations, men are always trying to control you. If you have your own money, like Jay-Z and Beyonce, Jay-Z can't control her because she got just as much money to do what the fuck she wants. You know what I'm saying? She's not dependent on him. So being dependent on a man, to me, when you're in these desperate situations, then you agree to all this shit, and then you have, like, not just a messed up love life, a messed up sex life. And then, no, I would never go for that. So, but a lot of parts of the world, a lot of African countries, a lot of Caribbean countries, a lot of the Middle East, you got women on some bullshit. South America, with this, machismo bullshit that there's, supposed to be, sex is not supposed to be pleasurable to them. Like, I don't even know, it's like they say that it's all about the men don't care. Now, when people talk about Afro-American men, I think Afro-American men understand romance a lot better than a lot of other cultures in the world who really are just cold. They just feel like, this woman is my wife to bear my children, and that's it. Then I go have sex with the prostitute to get the freaky sex. And she just better stay barefoot and pregnant. And forget about expressing love towards her or any kind of, a lot of the world can be like that. In Asia, China, so many parts of the world are like that. Even in Japan now, it's an issue with the men and the woman where it's like 40% of the men are virgins. They don't even have sex anymore. The population is on a decline. That's a problem. And nobody can tell me that patriarchal religion does not play a problem in that shit. They can't. And because I wasn't raised with it, and I'm like one of the few people, or maybe the only person I know who was not raised religious, even people who are raised religious who say they're not religious anymore still have like remnants of that. I'm coming from a pure place and a clean slate. Patriarchal religion is a problem. And this idea of God all the time, and not looking at the goddess. You could acknowledge God, but the God and the goddess are not interchangeable. People try to say that. It's the same thing. It's not the same thing. Goddesses are connected to sexuality, birth, and death, not God. Goddesses, you can't deal with anything dealing with goddesses without dealing with sexuality, nudity, the body. You know what I'm saying? Goddesses always had tons of jewelry. They were tons of animals buried with shit. Like, it's not the same thing. And if you look at ancient art, the goddess figurines, the Venus figurines predate that of the gods. Okay? And so I have like a long book list of stuff that you could look at from archaeologists, anthropologists, all types of stuff. But I won't get too much into that. Back into going down to woman. Because we talk about the goddess, you should look at that as like sacred worship. Even me as a woman, if I go down a woman, I see it that way. And in the front of churches, in Ireland or even in Africa and Native American, you will see like a woman with their legs wide open. In Puerto Rico, they call it Atabe. It's, Atabe is a goddess. You see her with legs wide open. You see that image all throughout the world. And that was considered to be a protective image, a powerful image. Jesus died on his cross for our sins, which I don't believe, but that's the story, right? And he's there like this, bleeding. There are ancient images that predate that of women with their legs wide open and menstrual blood coming out. Because menstrual blood was the blood that women used for ritual. If that woman had gotten pregnant, that blood would be used to grow a new life, to feed and nourish a new life. Men got blood for ritual from killing things and cutting things. The patriarchal religion is about dying into something. Jesus died for our sins, right? Matriarchal stuff is about being born into something. You are that. You are special. You are supposed to be king, queen, whatever, because you were born into it. Under matriarchy, men still were in positions of power. But because a woman said that he was supposed to be there, his mother, his wife, but usually his mother and his wife, those two, put the crown on his head, okay? So it wasn't like, men couldn't do this, men couldn't do that, like it is under patriarchy. Women can't play these sacred instruments. Women can't be the priest. Women can't be the religious leader. Women can't, but women can't be sexually free. All that bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Bullshit. So, when the thing about going down a woman, that's important because I've had debates on Instagram about this, where somebody posted this meme that said, make sure you eat her pussy before you fuck her, or eating her pussy should be your first priority before you fuck her. And there were guys who was like, but you better go down on a man too. And it's like, yeah, like that's nice and fair, right? But the purpose of saying that is different. Because the thing is that the more aroused the woman is, male sexual energy is like fire. Men can see things and get automatically aroused, automatic erection, ready to go. Women's sexuality is like like water. So it slowly come to a boil, right? Because we're the ones that get penetrated. Something is actually penetrating our physical body. Then it has to be comfortable. Our bodies have to be ready to accommodate that. It's not just comfortable for you. Just because you're erect and now you want to ram it inside of me and you expect me to be ready. That shit does not feel good to women. There's a lot of women who don't speak up about it because they feel like they're supposed to please a man, so they're quiet. But as a man, do you really want to cause pain to this woman? Some men may not care. Some men really may not give a fuck. So if you don't give a fuck, then I guess the question is answered. But if you are a man who cares about a woman's pleasure and it being comfortable for her and not causing her pain, then you want to make sure that she's fully warmed up. And the more aroused the woman is, and the clit, again, has more nerve endings than any other part of the body. A woman might also get aroused from her nipples being stimulated, her neck being kissed, or any other, thing that turns her on. But because the clitoris has so many nerve endings that surrounding the vaginal canal, it has a great effect on the wetness, how the vaginal canal can accommodate, because when a woman is aroused, our vaginal canals lengthen. So they lengthen, they expand, and they can accommodate more. They're wet, so not only does it feel better for us, it feels better for you. But then again, some African countries and Caribbean countries, I've been seeing articles about this from DR and Haiti, which was crazy to me because I know so many Dominicans and Haitians and never heard them talk about this. But maybe this is because what Dominicans and Haitians do in the U.S. is different than what they're doing in DR and Haiti. But apparently there's an epidemic of dry sex, and you can look it up. There's so many studies on it in Africa and parts of the Caribbean, including DR and Haiti, where it's a big problem, where women are putting toilet paper, dried up concrete, chalk, sand into their vagina to dry it out, to create more friction, because those men say that a wet vagina is a loose vagina and they don't like it. So even though this is causing a woman so much pain by trying to make their vaginas as dry as hell, they use all these things to dry it out, it's causing them to tear, makes them more likely to get infections, okay? Which is why you get so many infections through the ass, because it tears easy. When a woman's vagina is well lubricated, that doesn't happen. But these women are willing to do that shit for the pleasure of the man. And that's a shame. And that shit sounds crazy. Because I've never known a man in America that thought a dry vagina felt better than a wet one. But apparently a lot of Caribbean and African men do. And you can go look up the studies and the articles written on it. It's an epidemic. So the thing is about going down on a man, it's like, yes, it's arousing for him. It can help make him harder if he's, a man that some men are really into it. Some men are more into having sex with a woman than they are into getting head. Like, just like all men are different, just like women. But it can do all of those things, and it also can arouse a woman because openings of our body are connected. So our mouth and our vaginal opening are connected. So that's why in labor a woman has to relax her jaw, relax her mouth, in order to really open up and let the baby come through her. If she's tensing here, she'll tense here. So same thing is true sexually. Going down a man can make a woman open up, and it can also affect her down here as well. So going down a man can also be arousing for a woman. If it's something that she's turned on by, then that also can help get her extremely aroused too. But for men, a lot of times when men are already turned on, men just get hard. Like, that's what I've seen. I haven't been around. I honestly... I haven't really seen this in my personal life. I'm not really interested in seeing it. Where if I'm around a man who is supposed to be turned on by me, but he doesn't get an erection, like, I never wanted to have sex with somebody so bad that I want to, like, do a whole bunch of work to make you hard. Like, I just feel like if you're a man and you're turned on, you should be hard. Like, that's what I've seen in my life. I haven't come across too many dudes that had a problem. Like, in my life, it's usually... he's turned on, he's pushing up on me, he's hard, whatever. I never had to go down a man to make him hard, But he could already be that way, and you do it to add to it, you know what I'm saying? But I haven't seen it as a necessary step to making sex comfortable for him. Whereas with a woman, it's a necessary step because probably in most cases, unless it's a woman who just hates it or whatever, but it's a necessary step to make this woman's body open up, to make it open up. Because remember, you want to open the gate. As a man, you want to penetrate, you want to put something inside of her, you want it to feel comfortable for her, you don't want to cause her pain, you don't want to cause her damage, because a man can cause damage. And that's a video I want to talk about in another time. Then you have to be gentle and think about opening the gate, doing what you got to do to open the gate. And so that's why I think that is so important. And especially because when you talk about around the world, how much women are suffering in sex. How much women are having awful sex just to please this man. It's all about the man. I'm not saying that this is the case in America. This hasn't been my case in life. So I'm not saying that all men are that way. But when you look around the world, that's mostly what you see. So especially with putting that into context, it definitely is important. It's important. And any man who thinks, well, I don't go down on a woman, or you want to say, I'll go down on her if she smells good. Well, if she doesn't smell good, why would you put your dick in her in the first place? You know what I'm saying? If you think she's unhealthy, if you can't put your mouth on it, why would you put your phallus in it? Why would you do that? Does that make sense? I wouldn't do that shit. So that doesn't even make sense when men say stuff like that. Or then when some people want to try to, like Jamaica, wants to try to act like it's cool for dudes not to go down on women. But when you see how they dance, like dance hall, Jamaican dance hall now, I always think I would never have sex with those dudes. They're jumping off of shit, jumping onto women. You can tell by the way they dance, they don't give a fuck about how women feel sexually. It's just way too rough and really disrespectful. But then you can see, you could be in a Latin country and look at how the men dance and the finesse and the gracefulness and how they treat the woman, how they guide her like a gentleman. Doesn't mean that a lot of them aren't abusive in a relationship, though. But I just feel like, you know, when I see Jamaican men jumping off of shit onto women's backs, that I'm like, there's no fucking way in the world I would ever have sex with that dude. He looks like the dude that would want a woman to put toilet paper or newspaper in her vagina to dry it out and then have sex with her and make her bleed and not give a fuck. And so, no, not interested in that, you know. And more women, I would love to see more women stand up around that. But so many women are intimidated to speak up about what it is they want and need. A lot of it is because of religion and society that's dictated by religion. So that's why it always comes back to religion for me. Anyhow, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I said everything I wanted to say about going down a woman. Start slow. Think about using your tongue to make her come out of hiding, out of her hood. Our clits involve us swell just like the male phallus when we're aroused. So suction, just like on a man. Suction increases the blood flow. Suction on us increases the blood flow. So sucking the clit, lightly sucking it while you're licking it at the same time. Thinking about using your tongue as like an arrow, like making it firm, not too soft, but giving it a firmness and trying to get the spot. You want to hit the spot, just like with a really good meal. You can eat a okay meal and it's okay, did its purpose, you know, you're not hungry no more. Or you could have a meal that really hits the spot and you're like, God damn, that shit was good. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to be. That's what you want to look for. That's what you want to have a goal for. And in order to do that, you have to tune in, change up what you're doing with your tongue. You could do flicks, circles, but make sure your tongue is firm. Make sure you keep removing, squirming, moaning, all those things. Okay, so I hope you guys learned something from this video. Ladies, please feel free to share your 2 cents on what I've said. And this video will be reposted onto my YouTube page, The Renaissance Amazon. If you're watching it on YouTube, follow me on IG at the_Renaissance_Amazon_81, which will all be below. And if you learned something, share it. Have a great day, people. Thanks for listening. Bye.